Welcome everyone to my latest spray paint video. This is one that I promised you about 3 weeks ago. It took me about 3.5 hours to do altogether, and probably the same amount of time to edit this video. It is the one I was going to do on Batman. But this was a custom request through my Etsy store, and the person wanted a scene from Batman versus Superman. The difference in this video is I'm going to show you how I cut the stencils at the same time as I'm spray painting the main scene or the main background. It would take far too long a video to show you the whole thing from start to finish, so we'll just condense it and we'll do both at the same time. So if you like this, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Also don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit that bell for notifications so that you know when I release a new video. If you haven't checked out some of my previous videos, I'll put them up here and put them in the cards as well. But also check out my latest one, which is a brief history on who the very first spray paint artist was and how spray paint art all got started. So if you're interested in it at all, have a look at that one, drop it a like, leave a comment if you agree or disagree with me, and sit back, relax and enjoy this video. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to start this one with the Batman cut out here, and I'm going to just spray in a base layer of grey paint, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this stencil part of it up in the top left hand corner and continue to work on Batman and Superman themselves up there. On the main screen I've put the inner part of the stencils over the completed Batman and Superman, and I'm going to paint in the background, and then when it all comes together at the end we'll lift off the stencils and you'll see the completed painting with Batman and Superman. Now if I was to show you this whole video in one go without splitting it like this, we'd be sitting here for an hour, and I'm sure you're not going to watch this video for an hour. So what I've done is I've condensed this video into 10 minutes so that you can see the full process speeded up. And you'll see the stencils here. I like to hand draw all my stencils. I don't use any machines or anything like that, or tracing it from a screen. I like to draw them freehand. It's just something I think it gives me more satisfaction at the end of the day. It does take a little bit of practice to get right though. Alright, so in the upper part of the video I'm putting some texture on Batman's cape using a plastic bag. So I sprayed on some black paint with grey underneath it, put on the plastic bag, rub over with your fingertips and lift off, and you'll get some nice texture. I'm also going to scrape in some detail with a palette knife, which I'm doing right now. You can see I've just lifted the first stencil off of Batman, and I'm just going to put in some detail highlights. On the main picture I am currently putting in some clouds. I've torn off some gloss paper at the bottom with some cloud shapes, and I'm lightly spraying on some white to blend in with the blue and black background. That'll really make the Batman logo and Superman pop out of the page. So one of the questions that I quite often get asked is, why do my stencils smudge or smear, or when I lift the paper off the stencil it sticks to the page? And it's quite a simple answer really. You need to let the paint dry completely. The base layer needs to be completely dry underneath before you put anything on top of it. You saw me using a hairdryer there just to dry the base layer of Batman, but sometimes we use fire, sometimes we use a heat gun, or just let it dry naturally, which will take about 10-15 minutes depending on how warm it is. But you always have to let it dry fully, else you're just going to have a disaster. Alright, so looking at the top screen, I'm using a measuring tape, and that's just to make sure that I get the Batman logo in the centre. This paint is going to be 16 inches by 20 inches in total, which means I have to cut a border off the paper that I'm using because it's larger. And sometimes I'll draw this off an image of a phone, or if I know what I'm doing I'll be able to just draw it off a picture or a magazine or something like that. But this Batman logo, it needs to be pretty much centred and equal on both sides. So just use anything you can use to help you measure. It's not cheating, it's just still doing it freehand, doesn't matter how you do it. and it just makes the painting look a lot better. Alright, so on the main picture I'm doing one of my favourite things to do with spray paint, and that is a city. And you scrape away the top layer of paint to reveal the colour that you've sprayed underneath. And I'm using just a straight edge kind of palette knife here. It's used for maybe putting, you know, plaster onto walls or things like that. You can buy them in a hardware store. And I'm just applying a little bit of pressure, scraping along and then down, and you'll get the buildings that you see there on the left hand side of the painting. And my head's in the way, sorry, of the one that I'm doing just now, but there you go, it's the same technique, and I'm just putting down the palette knife and scraping away the top layer of paint. And what I'm going to do is blend this in a bit with the background by spraying some blue and some maybe white and black over the top. That'll make it look misty, as if it's far away in the distance of Gotham City. Is it Gotham City the first meet, or is it Metropolis? I can't remember. Comment below if you can. I'll need to watch this film again. It's been quite a wee while since the last time I've seen it. Alright, so to get some kind of rubble effect on the ground, I've sprayed a few layers of grey, dark blue and black on top. I'm just going to use a piece of crunched up gloss paper and lightly drag it over the top of the black paint, and you'll see the effect it has. It gives a kind of rubble and stone effect. We'll add some detail in with the palette knife shortly. And if you jump up to the top screen, you'll see me using my blade to cut the Batman logo stencil out. You might have seen me putting a green stencil cutting board underneath this. That just gives you a more precise cut. The wood that I usually paint on, or the desk that I usually paint on, is full of lumps and bumps and chips, so when you're cutting you can make mistakes and make it not as neat. So that board helps you make a nice, neat, sharp, straight cut every time. Alright, now it's time for the best bit. Let's get the stencils off of there. Let's see what it looks like. This is one of the most satisfying bits in the spray painting, or one of the biggest sources of disaster if your paint's bled underneath. Looking good here. That is the Superman logo on top of the Bat logo, and we're going to put another stencil on for Superman's head, and we'll not finish that bit yet, so don't worry about that. And let's remove Batman and see how he looks against the backdrop of the city. Yeah, looking pretty good. Happy with that one. Alright, and I'm going to add in the stencil for the light that projects the bat sign in the air. And we're going to just do that in some kind of greys, silver and black. I'm going to scratch away some detail to make it look like light. And once this is done, the left hand side will be cut to trimmed to 16 inches, and I'll trim the top white bit off to 20. The paint will be just looking just perfect. So I originally wanted to release a Batman painting in line with the news that they were filming the new Batman movie in Glasgow, which isn't too far from where I live. So I think they managed to film the section they were wanting to do before we all got put into lockdown. But I don't know when that movie is going to get released now. But I might do another one when just before it comes out. One in the style of Robert Pattinson's Batman. Some of the stills look quite good, and the pictures look pretty decent of it so far. I'm looking forward to seeing that whenever it comes out. Alright, now we've got our final stencil. This is going to be Superman's head. So just trim this one to give him a nice wavy haircut, and I'll be putting in the red eyes using a tip of a paintbrush. But this will just be blended in to the existing Superman stencil. And when you're doing these stencils, it's important to use the same size of card or have markers on your painting so that you know exactly where to position the next layer of a stencil. It can be an absolute disaster if you put one that's slightly off one way or another, and it'll just completely ruin the look of your painting. So just be precise with this and take your time. Alright, so what I'm doing here is I'm just adding in some black paint using the tip of my palette knife. In hindsight, I probably should have done this as all as one big stencil. The beauty of spray art is you can make corrections and changes at any point and just spray over the top. And this way, the head looks a lot better. And I think with a few finishing touches we'll call this painting done. There we go. What do you think of that? If you like this painting, like this video, please hit that thumbs up button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. There's plenty more videos like this coming up. I've got another video coming up soon. It's a painting that I actually found that I bought in 2003, the very first spray paint I ever bought. I'm going to recreate it in a new video, add my own twist to it. I'll let you see that one shortly. But for this one, that's Superman and Batman about to face off. This one is probably not a good one for beginners to try. If you are a beginner spray painter, there's plenty more videos on my channel with beginner style tutorials, how to paint planets, etc. Have a look at them. But I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in the next one. This is SprayArtGuy signing out.